let's be honest, modern reading tests can feel impossible to prepare for. Whether it's the STAAR or some other state assessment, they're not just about reading anymore. They're about a whole new way of thinking. So today, we're going to break down exactly what these tests are really looking for and give you a clear, simple plan to tackle them with confidence. Have you ever looked at one of these tests and just felt completely lost, like it's written in some kind of secret code? Seriously, you are not alone. These tests are just fundamentally different from the ones many of us grew up with, and they can leave both students and parents feeling pretty confused and frustrated. But here's the thing, it's not an unbreakable code. To crack it, you just need to understand the two big reasons students usually struggle. So let's grab those keys and get started. Okay, the first key is all about vocabulary. These tests are packed with what educators call Tier 2 academic words. Now, these aren't the super technical words you'd find in a science textbook, but they're definitely not the words we use in our everyday chats either. And this slide just shows the difference so perfectly. Over on the left, you've got Tier 1 words, the stuff we say every day without even thinking about it. But look to the right. Those are the Tier 2 words that pop up all over these tests. Words like establish, verify, or analyze. And that gap between how we talk and the language of the test, that's a huge and often hidden hurdle. So, the second key? It's the format of the test itself. Modern reading tests have moved way beyond the simple A, B, C, or D multiple choice. They use all these different digital question types that can be really intimidating if you've never seen them before. And you can just see the variety kids are up against. Instead of just picking one bubble, they might have to click on the exact sentence in a story that proves their answer, or pick out multiple correct answers from a big list. So it's not just about knowing the stuff, it's about knowing how to actually work with these tricky new formats. Okay, so we know about the tough vocabulary and the tricky formats. Sounds a little daunting, right? But here's the good news, and this is the really good news. All of it, every single one of those questions, is designed to measure just 7 core thinking skills. And that, right there, is the real secret to the test. The best way to think about this is that you've just been handed a decoder ring. These 7 skills are your key. Once you can look at a question and identify which of the 7 skills it's asking for, you'll know exactly what you need to do to find the right answer. First up on our decoder ring is craft and structure. This one asks you to put on your writer's hat. It's not about what the text says, but why the author chose to say it in a specific way. It's all about analyzing their word choices, how they organized the story, and what their goal was. For instance, you might see a question just like this. See? It's not asking for a fact you can find in the text. It's asking you to analyze the author's decision. It's a much higher level of thinking that goes from just understanding to really analyzing. Next step is inference. You've probably heard of this one. It's the classic reading between the lines. With these questions, the answer is never, ever spelled out for you. You have to play detective, using little clues from the text to put together a logical conclusion. An inference question will ask you something like this. The passage won't just say, the author was disappointed. No way. Instead, it'll use certain words and descriptions that hint at disappointment, and it's your job to connect those dots. All right, next is a really big one, main idea and summary. This is all about finding the signal in the noise. It's about figuring out the most important, central point of a passage and separating it from all the little supporting details. And you'll see this tested very directly with questions that look exactly like this. This is such a critical skill because really, if you can't figure out the main idea, you can't truly understand what you're reading. Okay, here is the complete decoder ring. Let's just spend a second on this because every single question on that test maps back to one of these 7 skills. You've got the basics, like literal questions, just finding info right there in the text. Vocabulary is defining a word based on its context. We talked about inference, reading between the lines, and main idea, finding the big point. Then there's craft and structure, which is all about thinking like the author. Character, tone, and theme asks you to dig into those deeper meanings and feelings. And finally, constructed response is where you pull it all together and write out your own argument, using evidence to back it up. If you can master these 7, you've mastered the test. Simple as that. So now you have the decoder ring. What do you do with it? Let's get practical. Let's walk through a 5-step game plan that any student can use to solve any question that test throws their way. This is the strategy that really brings it all home. It's a repeatable routine that takes all the guesswork out of it and replaces it with a confident step-by-step approach for any kind of question. All right, here's the 5-step routine. Step 1, read the question first. Always know your mission before you start reading the passage.
Step 2, identify the skill. Is this an inference question, a main idea question? Use that decoder ring. Step 3, go hunting for evidence. Scan the text for the specific words or sentences that are your clues. Step 4, this is huge. Formulate your own answer in your head before you even peek at the multiple choice options. And step 5, prove it. Mentally explain to yourself how your evidence connects to your answer. This process works for everything, from the simplest question to a full-blown essay.
So we've cracked the code and we have a game plan. But before we finish up, I think it's really important that we zoom out and connect all of these test-taking skills to something, well, a lot bigger. Because the truth is, this isn't really about the test at all. The test is just a training ground. The real goal here is to build up those analytical thinking muscles that are needed for high school, for college, and for pretty much any career out there. These 7 thinking skills, they're really life skills. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. What if this test isn't some big, scary hurdle we have to get over, but is actually a blueprint for building a stronger, more critical thinker? When you start to see it that way, everything changes.